With the rise of indie horror games, there is a noticeable difference in the quality and detail with regard to the representation of what is currently being developed in the modern era. When we think of survival horror, games like Resident Evil and Silent Hill are usually the main examples that we think of, as they are considered to be the two definitive franchises in the horror genre of video games. While not all games are considered to be notable, but there are some examples that do prove to be quite memorable in what they offer and are able to showcase true nostalgic elements that reflect classic horror titles of days gone by. One of the more recent titles that has come to light is a game by the name of Echoes of the Living, developed by Moonglint, that is a nostalgic tribute to the early days of classic survival horror, created by fans with the intention of reliving many of those old classic memories while bringing them into the modern era. In this video, we will take an in-depth look at Echoes of the Living and how it compares to classic survival horror games that it has been inspired by, and how it could possibly influence similar games to rise in the future. Echoes of the Living is a nightmarish journey into the heart of classic survival horror. Drawing inspiration from iconic horror games of the 1990s, this experience is a masterclass in visual terror. Your ultimate objective is to endure the horrors that await you, to emerge from this darkness with your life intact, and to uncover the truth behind the incident that has caused the suffering of many individuals. But be warned, the journey ahead is fraught with danger and madness, and the road to survival will be a harrowing one. Echoes of the Living is a descent into the abyss of survival horror. Fixed cameras and a nostalgic nod to the greatest hits of the 90s are combined with a sinister twist, updated visuals, and fully realised three-dimensional environments that exploit the full capabilities of current generation graphics. This is not a journey for the faint of heart. The fear is real, and it will be inescapable as you navigate through the twisted horrors that await you. The story of the game takes place in the year of 1996. In a quaint little town nestled in the north of Europe, where the calm and peace of the night is shattered by an unearthly fog. The townspeople are unaware of the horrors that would soon be unleashed upon them. As the hours pass, the sickness begins to spread like wildfire. Panic quickly sets in, and the streets are filled with the groans of the undead. The once bustling town has now become a wasteland of fear and despair, with only the tormented echoes of the living to bear witness to the chaos and destruction that has befallen them. Nobody knew how or why the dead had risen, but it was clear that the town would never be the same again. The game allows you to choose between two playable characters, each with their own storyline, to discover the reasons behind how they ended up in this nightmare. Laurel, a young deputy officer, finds herself being thrown into the heart of the terror from the very beginning, as she seeks to investigate and uncover the fate of her fellow officers. As she navigates the haunted streets of the infected town, her sole focus is on escaping the grasp of the deadly virus and leaving the horrors behind. Liam, a former Special Operations member, was on the cusp of a new life in the town he had chosen to call home, to start a new life with his girlfriend. But as he arrived, he is met with a nightmare beyond his imagination. Desperate to find his fiancée and escape the grips of terror, Liam is determined to uncover the truth behind the outbreak and survive the nightmarish horrors that now surround him. The two protagonists are thrust into the living hell that the once peaceful town has become, their paths intertwined as they must work together to unravel the mysteries of the outbreak and make a desperate bid for survival. With the weight of their lives and the lives of those they love resting on their shoulders, they must brave the terrors that await them and find a way to escape the nightmarish city. The game complements many styles and nostalgic elements with the use of gameplay styles, highlights and features from classic horror games, with the use of fixed camera angles that would have been more notable within the Resident Evil games, with updated and customizable controls to work on modern systems. But you also have the nostalgic elements with the likes of puzzle solving, limited item inventory management systems, backtracking to rediscover inaccessible areas and even find hidden secrets, while also having access to save rooms and item storage boxes that again would have been more familiar with Resident Evil, while also having the ability to play through different perspectives with regards to each of the characters, as they all have their own interconnected storyline plots to uncover. And while you're playing, you will also be able to engage with many different enemy types, from bloodthirsty zombies, mutated fauna to other nightmarish creatures, all within beautifully rendered 3D environments with current generation graphics. One of the many features that this game definitely gets right is the brooding atmosphere. As you explore the dark and bloody streets, the shady exteriors and emblematic buildings with hospitals, libraries and many other types of apartment buildings that you must explore, to engage in combat with various enemies, to uncover various items that you need for progression, all while trying to conserve ammo and health as you play. The game also makes great use of lighting dynamics as well, that also adds to the tension, as enemies lurk from the shadows and you can't really see them until they come within view, which only adds to the overall sense of fear and uncertainty. And like with classic survival horror games, you can also uncover many elements of the game's storyline plot through the use of various books and notes that you will find on your journey that will give you an idea of the next stage of the story, and even to the background of the entirety of all of the elements that are happening within the game. Coupled with that, with all of the features, with secret areas to explore, doors to unlock, areas to cover, along with the dark, eerie and atmospheric elements, along with the variety of scary and ambient sounds and even dynamic background music, really adds to heighten the intention of true fear that the game tries to represent, and it does it really well. With all that in mind, it combines many of these elements where you will be required to explore many of the game's environments while interacting with the many puzzles through the use of exploration, backtracking to find keys to locked doors, while conserving the limited ammo and health reserves using strategic item management, which adds to the game's attention while appealing to the nostalgic elements of classic games in the genre. So when you look at games like of Resident Evil and even Silent Hill, these classic survival horror games utilised many of these gameplay mechanics and elements to full effect, and these games in their own right became the standard for pretty much every survival horror game after it to follow, to utilise many of these similar styles and features. Echoes of the Living invites players to experience the essence of classic survival horror in a new and updated setting. With modern advancements in gaming technology, the game transports players back to the fear and tension that defined the genre, while offering new and improved mechanics, graphics, that promises to deliver an immersive and unforgettable experience that will stay with players long after the experience. These elements tie into the realm of horror games to leave a lasting impression, and Echoes of the Living manages to achieve this feat that will have players looking for more. With a focus on survival, exploration, puzzle solving and intense atmospheric horror, this game is a love letter to the classic survival horror games of the past, while also pushing the boundaries of what is possible in the modern era of gaming, which revisits the nostalgia and depths of survival horror, but in the modern era. While the game is still in its early development, it clearly demonstrates its intent to capture the nostalgic elements when we look at the many unique features, from the fixed cameras, tank controls, item management and combat interactions to the puzzle solving features and weapons. It is one of the few modern games in this era to showcase true survival horror in all its glory, and for these reasons I would highly recommend that if you are a fan of classic survival horror games, then Echoes of the Living is another experience not to overlook, as it stays true to its roots that encapsulates the essence of survival horror to relive those nostalgic memories. It is an interesting look into the realm of survival horror that adds many iconic elements that leave a lasting impact, while reflecting on earlier classic titles that play and feel very similar to earlier Resident Evil and Silent Hill games seen on the original PlayStation. Now you're probably wondering about all of the unique elements within the game, and you probably want to learn more about all of the nostalgic elements of this uniquely modern take on survival horror while understanding more about the game's story and plot. But to do that, you need to check out this next video to witness many of these elements and to see why they are so iconic.